we have come to another lesson for the ICT core subject tutorial for SHS. Before we proceed, I should congratulate you for your patronizing of this tutorial. I should say that though you have participated, I'm very grateful that you are learning through this medium. Instead of wasting time on other things, you have rather chosen to study. And I'm also happy to be of assistance here. We shall proceed on with a new topic, which is ICT ethics and society. ICT ethics and society. For in this lesson, we are going to try to understand what ICT ethics means when we mention or when we say ICT ethics, what are we talking about? We shall also, as part of the ethics, we shall discuss how to maintain the ICT environment. Then we shall go on to discuss how to protect our ICT hardware. Then move on to discuss information and software security. Finally, we shall learn some rules and regulations that we are expected to observe when we go to ICT labs or when we go to internet cafes. First of all, if we say ICT ethics, what are we talking about? Ethics in simple terms refers to behaviors that one is expected to show or actions that one is expected to exhibit within a society. So we all live in a particular society. You are expected to act in this particular way, ways that are expected to be right. When you engage yourself, when you act in those appropriate behaviors, then we say you are observing the ethics of that society. In the same way, when we talk about ICT ethics, what we are trying to tell you is they are the expected behaviors or actions that you are supposed to exhibit when you are working with ICT tools or when you are working within environments that are considered to be ICT environments. When you find yourself in the ICT industry, there are certain behaviors that are expected of you. By virtue of you being involved there, you are supposed to act accordingly as stipulated according to that industry, behaviors that are acceptable. When you act against those behaviors, then we say you are unethical. And if you are not careful, people may shun you. Therefore, we would want to learn the basic ethics ICT has for us. The first aspect of ethics we shall cover will be on how to maintain the ICT environment. That is, if you find yourself within the ICT environment, how you should keep the place. The first ethics within an ICT environment which you are supposed to exhibit is for you to learn how to operate an ICT tool appropriately. Every device has its own way of handling it. In order to make sure that you don't operate it in a wrong way, in order that you don't spoil some of these devices or cause problems, it is incumbent on you, it is expected of you to make sure that you learn how to use it. If it is a computer, you should learn how to use that computer. For instance, you should learn how to turn that computer on properly. You should learn how to shut it down. You should learn how to do certain things on the computer. The second ethics is that you do not do anything you do not have knowledge or skill about. We expect that as a user within the ICT industry, whether you are a professional or whether you are an end user, we expect that you are able to explore. Whilst you explore the ICT tools, you are able to learn more. Yet our advice is whenever you are going to use an ICT tool, or maybe you want to do something on an ICT tool and you do not have any idea on how to do that, we advise that you don't. If you don't know how to do something, wait, ask for assistance from somebody who can help you or who can teach you on how to do that particular thing you want to do. I have already explained this one. Seek assistance when necessary. When you go to a cafe or when you are in the ICT environment, some people want to act as if they know everything. There's nothing wrong asking a friend if you don't know something. Oh, Charlie, can you teach me how to do this particular thing? Definitely that person will help you. If let's say it's not your friend, but probably it is the ICT instructor or the ICT assistant. If you go to them, they would be able to give you assistance. They will be able to help you do what you want to do. The next action or behavior you are expected to show within the ICT environment is that you do not send food or drinks or water into ICT environments. When you are at places considered to be ICT environments, you should not send food there. Not that we don't want you to eat, but the reason being that you may leave particles within the environment which you may not know. Some of the particles of the food may fall on the ground, you may not notice, or probably some of the drink will pour on the floor or water will pour on the floor, and once they pour on the floor, probably you would be attracting rodents, rats and so on into the environment. And no rodents, once they come into the environment, they will try to chew some of the cables. That is why we tell you not to send food there, so that you don't cause problems. And probably to, let's say if you send food or drink in there, you may mistakenly pour that drink or that food on some of the devices. When that happens, you cause those devices to malfunction or probably to spoil. That is why we say don't send food into an ICT environment. Then it is expected of you that you always keep the ICT environment clean before you start working within the environment. If you need to sweep, make sure you sweep. If you need to dust, make sure you dust. Every form of dust within the environment, or any form of filth or any form of dirt you can find. Clean the environment very well before you start using. When you are leaving, to make sure that the place is well kept. If you are not the one responsible for sweeping or cleaning the environment, make sure that people who have been employed to do so do perform their duties. ICT environments should always be well ventilated. You should always keep the environment airy. There should be a free way or a free pass for which air can enter the environment, because the devices generate a lot of heat. If it's your monitor will be generating heat. If your system unit will be generating heat. Therefore, if you don't allow free air to circulate within the environment, as these devices continuously generate heat, the heat will have an effect on the devices, and then if you are not careful, they will spoil. If you are not even careful, to some will even in the process catch fire. That is why you are expected to keep your environment ventilated. Another advice is that whenever you are using ICT tools, make sure that you follow instructions given to you. These instructions may be given on your computer. If, let's say, you are performing a task, there will be some guidance for you. Make sure that you follow those guidance. Beside those that will be given to you directly from the programs, you are also to follow instructions that will be given by people who are responsible for managing the ICT tools. Or there are people who may be employed by your institution. Let's say, for instance, help desk specialists. They will come to you and they will teach you how to perform certain operations or activities or certain tasks. It is expected that whilst they are teaching you those instructions, you pay attention to them, and then you follow those instructions as you use the devices. If you don't understand anything, you should ask them questions, and definitely they would answer them for you. You are also not expected to disturb within the ICT environment. Let's say, for instance, you go to your office and then you start playing music on your laptop and you tune the volume so high. You are disturbing everybody. The mere fact that you want to listen to music doesn't mean that others also want to listen to whatever you are going to play. Hence, you need to tone down on whatever you are doing. You don't need to disturb. You don't need to be shouting in order to distract others from performing their task. If it's music, you can use your headset If it's time for work, make sure that you don't disturb, do your work. When you finish and you have your free time, then you can do something else. But even whilst you are doing that something else, don't disturb the other people within the environment. Another ethical behavior you are expected to exhibit within an ICT environment is for you not to prevent legitimate users from accessing the ICT tools. Probably the tools where you have been assigned those tools with other people. So let's say you may be 3 or 4 people who are expected to use those devices. When it is time for those people to use those devices, do not prevent them from using them. Give them the rightful access. If it is time for you to leave for them to use, allow them to use. Of course, when it is time for you, it is expected that they would also allow you to use. Hence, you don't need to prevent them when it is their turn. Then you should be ready to share appropriately. You should be ready to share appropriately. The operative word there is appropriately. ICT is all about sharing. The computing industry, including telecommunication, is all about sharing, getting to know things and then sharing them with other people. So when you know something, you don't need to keep it to yourself alone. Help other people to know what you know. But be mindful that it is not every information that you should share. There are certain confidential information that are supposed to be kept secret. In those instances, you don't need to share them. If you go ahead to share with other people, then you are being unethical. I hope you do understand this point very well. So, for instance, you don't need to leak confidential information belonging to an institution just because probably you are fighting some war somewhere. No, it's not right. But every information that it will not cause any form of harm in any way, will not damage anyone in any way, and you think it will be useful for other people to know, share. Apart from information, you may have certain software. You should be able to share it. You may be having a resource. You should be able to share. You don't need to keep it alone to yourself. Due to the fact that probably some time to come, you would also need to know something. And if you are not ready to share, how do you expect other people to also share what they have with you? You should also make sure that equipment are properly arranged within the ICT environment. Make sure that if it's the monitor, it is well positioned at where it should be. If it's the keyboard, well positioned. If it's system unit, well positioned. If it's a printer, any device, make sure that before you use them, you arrange them properly. After you finish using it, make sure that you leave them in a properly arranged way. You should not be, for instance, scattering things within the ICT environment. It is not proper. Keep things properly arranged. Keep things tidy so that we will know that yes, this person is an ethical person who makes appropriate use of the ICT tools. We are finished with our environment. Now let us come to how we should protect the ICT hardware. You've already understood what hardware is. Therefore, I would not explain them again. The first way of securing or protecting the ICT hardware is to make sure that ICT tools are kept within secured or protected ICT environments. When we say secured, it means that they should be kept at places where people, unauthorized persons, will not have access to the tools to use them or even to steal them. Therefore, you need to make sure that environments within which ICT hardware is kept is well protected with burglar proof, so that they will not be able to find a means of breaking into your environment and then stealing them or doing something negative to your hardware. Sometimes you are there and then people will just open your desktop machine and then steal hardware. Some may be stealing, how do you call it, memory and so on and so forth. This is because proper security has not been maintained for the hardware. That is why you find these things happening within our workplaces and then within our institutions. It is also good to install alarm systems. You should install alarm systems. Alarms are very good. If you install them, people will not be stealing. Once they try to enter, the alarm will just go off and then it will be caught. Alright, let's continue. So you should install alarm systems within the environment. Another way to protect your hardware is to prevent it from overheating. To prevent it from overheating, then it means you need to make sure that the environment, as has already been explained, you should be well ventilated, and you should keep your devices in such a way that they would be found at places where there could be a lot of ventilation. Okay, there could be a lot of ventilation, which will be preventing overheating. As I explained earlier, overheating can cause damage and they can also cause fire to spark. Where affordable, make sure that ICT devices are kept in well air-conditioned rooms. As you have been told, these ICT devices generate heat. So you need to make sure that there's air conditioning for them. If they are well air conditioned, if they generate the heat, the cooling will cool down the heat and then the devices will be able to work. When ICT hardware is kept within air-conditioned rooms, you notice that they are able to work for a longer period. They don't easily get spoiled. And even when they are air-conditioned, most of the time you don't find dust settling on various devices, even within the systems. So you should make sure that ICT rooms are air conditioned. Then you should always conduct routine maintenance and servicing. Maintenance is always important. In our Ghanaian culture, we only call for repairs. When we see that our devices are finally broken down, that is when we call for maintenance. But it shouldn't be so. At least at regular intervals. Let's say in about every 3 months or 6 months, you should make sure that your devices are serviced. If there are dust, they are cleared. If you need to update your software, you get the service technicians to come and do all these things for you. Of course, sometimes it may cost you some money, but once you do it you are able to maintain your devices and you're able to use them for a very long time without you getting them spoiled and then going to buy another one. Rather, you save a lot of money by doing so. Please and please and please again, never steal an ICT device. It is the extremist behavior. It is not right. If you are working within an environment, you are given these devices to work with, or probably other people need to work with these devices, and you steal them. You cost a lot of damage by stealing. Now, money that was supposed to be used for something else will have to be used to now replace what you have stolen. So please never attempt to steal ICT devices. We are also advising that you keep ICT devices away from direct sunlight. If you notice that there's a particular window where direct sunlight passes through or maybe gets through, we are advising you that don't keep your ICT devices closer to those places. Keep them at places where it will be shady enough, not places that will be moist. No, we don't want you to keep them in moist places, but rather keep them in places away from the sunlight and keep them away from places where it is also moist. That is why I always advise people, whenever you are going to buy ICT tools and you notice that these tools are kept in the sun, don't buy them. You should rather be buying from places where they are kept away from direct sunlight, because if they are left in the sun, gradually their lifespan is being reduced. Therefore, make sure that if, let's say, you have these devices, then make sure that you don't keep them in places where they can easily be affected by direct sunlight. As I explained earlier, you should learn how to turn on and how to turn off ICT tools properly. There are steps you must follow to turn off ICT tools. If you need to turn them on, there are steps you follow to do same. We are advising that you learn how to do each one of these well. Else you will cause these devices either to malfunction as you continuously turn them on and off in the inappropriate way. You cause problems. Sometimes you will just cause the device to completely collapse. They won't work at all. Therefore, in order to forestall such things from happening, we are advising that learn how to do these two major things well. We are also advising you to use an uninterrupted power supply system, UPS. UPS is like First of all, it's a stabilizer in itself, where the current flowing through, these ECG friends of ours, they can, sometimes their machines may develop faults, and then there will be high voltage, sometimes too there will be low voltage. Therefore, in order to prevent such things from having a negative effect on your machines, you should be using a UPS. And sometimes too, the light will go off unexpectedly. That when these lights go off unexpectedly, once you are using your UPS, the UPS will make sure that your computer or your ICT device doesn't also go off just like that. No, rather it will allow you some time to work on your machine. If let's say you are typing a document or you are doing some work and you have not saved it, it will allow you to save it. Sometimes it will allow you to work for maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on the capacity of the UPS. Then when you are finally done, then you turn off the device properly. So that is the essence of UPS. And we advise that everybody should get at least one UPS for his or her computer. Once you are done using an ICT tool, we are also advising you that you should disconnect the main power cable. That is let's say, the power cable that connects from the power source to the extension board. Okay, make sure that you disconnect it. Even if you turn the socket off, we are still advising that you remove it, because anything can happen. If you leave it like that and there's a high voltage or an electrical surge, though the main switch is off, it could happen that the fire would still pass through your devices and then cause damage. If let's say there's lightning, even if your machine is off, if you've turned off the power socket and the building's earth is not well done, it will still cause damage to your devices. That is why we say you should always disconnect your power sources. You should disconnect your main connectors. You should disconnect the connectors from the sockets, the main power sockets. We are also advising that you should make sure that you make inscriptions on all ICT devices. So let's say if it's a monitor, you should get somebody to inscribe it for you. If it belongs to a school, you can get one of these inscribers. They'll come and write, or they will come and I've forgotten the word, but they'll come and make inscription of the school's name on the devices, so that if in case they are even stolen, those who come and steal them will not, they can't go and sell them, and you can easily catch them. That one too can also prevent people from stealing them. Once people know there's inscription and they may be caught, they won't even attempt to steal. Let us discuss information and software security. Information and software security. That is, we are going to discuss how to protect our software and how to protect the information that we have. As I have explained, this has to do with how to protect your software and delicate files from unauthorized access and abuse. If people are not supposed to get access to your software or information of, let's say, files, then how do you protect those files, or how do you protect those softwares? If there are people who would want to abuse your software and your information, how do you protect it? That is what we are going to discuss under this section. Anyone who accesses and misuses restricted information and software without permission commits what is known as a computer crime. A computer crime or an ICT crime. If such crimes take place through internet mediums, then we say it is a cyber crime. Cyber is related to things, crimes that are related to or that are performed through the internet. There are several people who commit ICT crimes. Some of them are hackers. Hackers are people who break into secure systems just to expose the security lapses within those systems. Their aim may not be to cause some sort of trouble, probably to steal or to damage something. No. Their aim will be just to explore, to find out if there are loopholes within your software or within your network or within your file. If they are able to, they just want to explore. And if they are able to identify those loopholes, then we call them as hackers. They do not cause harm in any way. No, they do not cause harm. Then we have crackers. Crackers are people who break into secure systems purposely to cause harm and steal information and software for malicious reasons. Their aim is to cause harm, cause trouble. If they are not causing trouble, they just want to steal the information, probably for blackmail or something like that, or they just want to use it for something that is negative. Those people are not hackers, but they are known as crackers. So how do we maintain information and software security? Besides hackers and crackers, there are other people. We have people like cyber extortionists, cyber terrorists, and so on and so forth. Those are supposed to be discussed under elective ICT, but for core, these two are okay. One way to maintain security of information and software is to respect privacy of others. You are expected to respect the privacy of others. How do you do so? You do not collect information about people or organizations if you do not have their full consent or approval. Before you take information from people, before you take someone's file, you should first of all let them know that maybe I want to use this file, or I want to have access to this software. If they say go ahead and use it, fine, you go ahead and use it. But if they do not give you the permission to do so, don't. You should respect their privacy. There are people too who intentionally go and copy somebody's private files, somebody's confidential information, and use it to blackmail them. It is not right. You should be able to respect everybody's privacy. Don't put your noses into people's business where it is not necessary. Then you also have access. when we talk about access, what we are telling you is you should make sure that your personal information and those of organizations that are in your care or in your custody do not fall into wrong hands. That is, if your organization has given you information for your keeping, you should make sure that you keep those information very well. If it is your personal information that you don't want people to access, we are advising that you keep them very well protected, so that they do not get into the hands of malicious people who have bad intentions. You should also allow people who have right to use the information or software to have access to them. There are situations where the information has to be used by other people to facilitate their work. You should not sit on such information and then prevent them from using them. If you do that, you are not being ethical. You should not prevent legitimate users of software. You know, you are an administrator. Somebody is supposed to work. Probably somebody is supposed to use a software to do some work. Probably you might have some challenges with the person, and therefore you decide that because I'm having some personal challenges with this person, I'm not going to allow him or her access. No, it is not right. Where they are supposed to be given access, irrespective of your personal interest, allow them to have access. If they are not supposed to have access on ethical basis, then don't allow them to. We are also expecting you to make sure that you give out appropriate information. That is, you make sure that whatever you produce is accuracy. You should maintain accuracy. Make sure that every information or software you give out to people is correct, and don't give out false information. If I'm supposed to get access to a particular information, tell me the right information. Don't come and lie to me. So that if, let's say, there are 40 people for which I'm supposed to prepare for, then you tell me, oh, they are 25. You have given me false information, and that is unethical. Don't churn out falsehood. Nowadays, people go on the net and then make a lot of speculations that are not true. It is not right for you to do so. Whatever information you are putting out should be right. It should be correct. Don't tell lies about people. Don't tell lies about organizations. Don't go and spread rumors. If you know it's not true, don't go and say bad things about people. Say only things that are correct and right. Then you should also protect your delicate information with what is known as a password. A password. A password, this is a set of characters used to restrict unauthorized access. Always protect your delicate information and software with passwords. A password is some sort of characters. It's something you should always keep it in your mind. It should be something you alone can remember. Therefore, if let's say you've created a file, a confidential file, put a password on it, so that even if people try to access it, once it is password protected, they can't. Whether it is your computer, whether it is a file, whether it is a software, if you know they are not supposed to be made public to people, protect them with passwords. Piracy is also another challenge. Piracy refers to the stealing or illegal copying of information and software for personal use or for sale. This is a crime and it is punishable by law. You know this information belongs to a particular person, or this software belongs to a particular person. The person has not given you the right to copy and sell, or the right for you to copy and use, and you find a way to copy and then you use. It is observed as piracy, and it is a crime that if you are caught, you would be punished. Sometimes you may be sentenced to prison. Sometimes you may be asked to pay a fine. Don't engage in piracy. If you need a software and it is not a freeware, make sure that you pay for it. If there's an information and you are not given access to, don't find dubious means to get access to it, copy them and then use. No, it is not right. When you are caught, you will be dealt with severely. Backups. Keep backups of your important information and software. Make duplicates of important software and information and keep it at another secured on another secured storage. When you lose the original, you can replace it with a duplicate. I think we did discuss backups and computer viruses. So the explanation is the same here under information and software security. Then we come to specific rules or regulations you are expected to observe when you are in ICT labs, or let's say computer centers, and then when you are at internet cafes. When you go to internet cafes, some of the rules that you should be observing. Most of whatever we have discussed so far are operational here. Okay, they are also they are also applicable here. Okay, they are also applicable here. The first rule is for you to listen to and follow instructions. I've already explained this one, so I won't explain again. Then 2, never do anything without permission. This one too has already been discussed. 3, seek assistance when you are in difficulty. I've already explained this one too. Then you should not send food and drinks into ICT lab. You should keep ICT lab and internet cafes clean. Don't go there and make the places dirty. Properly shut down PCs after use. When you use your computer, a computer in the ICT lab, make sure that you learn how to properly turn it off. We also discussed this one. Do not use removable storage mediums without permission. This one is very, very important. When you go to ICT lab, you should not go and plug in your pen drive into the school's machines. It is not your personal machine. If there's a need for you to use a pen drive, or let's say a CD or whatever storage medium, you should seek permission from the person in charge. Most often, that person will take the drive from you, check to see that there's no virus on it. Then, if permissible, they would allow you to slot in your drive and then use. But if it's not allowed, don't do it, because you may cause problems for the machines. Once you cause problems and the machines are damaged, probably when you go there again, you will not get any machine to use. So don't go and do that. Don't copy anything from or onto any PC. It is not your personal computer. So don't go and copy things from somewhere and then come and dump them onto the cafes machines or the ICT labs machines. They are not for your personal use. Don't do that. Or if you are not allowed to copy something from the machines, there are some information that are supposed to be maintained or used only within the cafes or within the labs. You should not also go and copy them and then send them somewhere else. It is not appropriate for you to act that way. Don't steal any hardware from the place. We also discussed this, and you should not attempt to install any software or game on the computer. If you need to install a game, go and do so on your personal computer. But a general computer that is for several people to use, you are not supposed to go and put so many software on them. You are not supposed to install your own programs. Some of them may contain viruses, and sometimes to some of these programs, when you install so many programs on public machines, they tend to sometimes slow down such machines. Therefore, when you go there, use what is available. If you need a particular software to be installed, call the one in charge. If it is permissible and if it is right, they will install it for you to use. If it is not, don't do it yourself. It is unethical. Do not disturb within the environment or place. I have already discussed this with you. Then place your bags at designated points. Do not send bags near PCs. It is a strong instruction where every ICT lab or a cafe, they have a place they will ask you to put your bags. When you go there, leave them there. Don't go and steal, or don't go and leave your bags within the environment. Probably you will not go and steal, but someone will, because you sent yours there, someone too will send his there, and then if that person is a bad person, he will steal something from there. And once, let's say, if it's a keyboard or mouse, and you go there next time, the keyboard is not there for you to use, then it means you can't operate the machine. So because you were not observing the rules, somebody acted wrongly due to your actions. So obey the rules so that people will also obey the rules. Then when you have lessons at ICT labs, make sure that you go there on time. If your lessons is supposed to start at 10 a.m., arrive exactly, at least if about 2 minutes or so at the lab, or exactly 10 o'clock, arrive there, because if you delay, by the time you reach there, the lesson might have already started, and you will lose some of the important information that you may need. Do not attempt to repair any PC or software. You are not a technician. There are people who have been trained to repair devices. There are people who are trained to upgrade or work on software. Therefore, you should not make attempt to repair any machine. If you think your machine is faulty, if let's say you can't operate something, call the person in charge. He will come and repair, help you. If he cannot do it himself, he will invite the technician to come and do it. Alright. So today we have learned about ethics of ICT. We talked about ethics within the ICT environment. We talked about ethics in terms of protecting hardware. We talked about ethics in terms of protecting software and information. And then we zeroed in on how you should be observing ethics in ICT labs and internet cafes. I hope this lesson was fruitful to you. We shall end our lesson here and continue on a later date. As I told you, you can go to Facebook and then search for GHSHS Core ICT tutorial. If you have any question, leave them there. If you have any form of contributions too, you can also put them there. We will take them and then we will work on them appropriately. You can also leave comments on the YouTube comment areas. We will get to them, and then if you have comments or questions, we will of course deal with them. I hope you have a nice time with the rest of the day. Goodbye.